What's going on, Jack? Listen, I did this video in two separate parts. I did the first part in the basement, and I did the second part upstairs in my office to better screen capture and explain what the operating system that I use and how it works. This is called Launchbox, and if I draw your attention, well, I'm just gonna go here. All right, this is licensed to me. Every person who orders a computer build from me will have its own license for their own front end. But these are all the games that I actually have more games than this actually, but on this particular build that I've done for myself, these are all the games that are there. But let me just go ahead and show you kind of the fun stuff. So I'm gonna show you here and open up Big Box, which is the other side of this application. I'll explain later on what that means. So it's gonna pop up here in a minute. And so here you have all the systems that are on this build. Kind of ridiculous, the amount of games that are on here. I think I got about 20,000 games on this particular build. And what I like to do, oh, here's my arcade sticks. I'm actually just using that to scroll through the menu. But let me just go down here to PS2. I like to use that as sort of like to show off the kind of volume that could be there if a person is willing to invest in the hard drive space. So if you see here, I can just scroll through and I can have an entire conversation with somebody and not even hit the same game twice. I could just continually just go and just keep scrolling through. That's just for PS2. Let me go back here again. Let's go to PS1, for example. Every game that has ever been made for PS1, I have. This is the North American release because that's the only ones that I really want to utilize or whatever. And I'm not really, one to brag, but this is kind of the best you can ever get, really. And yes, they all boot up. They all run just fine. Let's go back here again. I'm actually going to go back to Arcade, for example. I think I've got 2,500 arcade games on this particular build. So let's see. Let's go to... All right. You're going to keep going. I'm not going to continually just scroll down and keep going with it if I wanted to. And what I'm going to do is actually going to carry this video upstairs. I have another build that I utilize as well. It'll be easier for me to screen capture what is going on the screen and whatever, so I can more in depth explain what's going on. But here's my Atari build. I mean, every game ever made for Atari is on here. Here's my Nintendo 64, for example. Every game ever made for Nintendo 64 is on there. Just it's all there. It's all there. You want to go back to say, let's say it's Nintendo DS. I got something like 1,000 games of Nintendo DS on there. They all run. Go back here again. Here's GameCube, for example. Every game for GameCube, yeah, is on here as well. Pretty much it runs flawlessly. Back up again. Sega CD, Dreamcast. I've got about 288 Dreamcast games on here, something like that. And they all run at 4K. So the emulator that I use scales up to 4K. Sega Saturn is here. You can pretty much go through every game of Sega Saturn as well. And I mean, I could literally make this video about 6 hours long and not go through every game that I have. I think my partner and I did some calculations, and if a person plays every game that I offer, it would take 38 years if they played 1 hour of it. so it's a look. You're gonna have, if you're missing a game in your life, and this is my game right about. It's my jam. The remake of that is phenomenal. Love this game. But anyway, you can pretty much see that they're all here. Like they're legitimately like. So, okay, let me go back here again. Let's see, but you know, why have all the games? Well, every customer that I've dealt with in the past has always had that emotional connection to one game. Maybe they played it with their cousin, their brother, their best friend growing up. Sort of brings them back to a simpler time in their lives where it was just about playing video games and having fun. So that's sort of what I like in this area. But I'm gonna go back upstairs to show you more in depth about why this operating system is the best one to use. And you know, it takes a lot of effort and energy to kind of make every emulator that I have work with this front end that I use. So anyway, I'm gonna pause the video going upstairs and we'll go on from there. While I have this video upstairs, I just kind of want to show you guys there's some specific things that this side of the operating system offers that the other side, while pretty and gorgeous, does not offer. One of the things that it does is it allows you to have a save state on every game you see here. So if I go over here to the left hand side, by the way, this is all the games that I have currently on this particular build. And so if I go to Atari 2600, for example, and I want to, let's say, play a game. Now, by the way, back in the day, all these games never had a save state. What is a save state? Well, let's talk about what that is, first of all. So if I open up a game, let me go back here to Genesis, for example. All right, so this is what happens here. Let's see if I can show you this. And actually, I'm going to mute the audio here so you guys don't get blasted out with the game starting up. Let me go here to, actually, you know what I'll do? A good example would be go to Tetris here, for example. So I'm going with my keyboard. Here's my search bar. And it's a really quick way to find the games you're after. And if I press P on my keyboard, which all my builds have this, it'll go to what's called a save state. And you see here that if I go down to load state, this is going to enter me in the last time I had this game saved. Because most of us at this stage in our lives have less time to do what we want to do. And the last thing we want to do is, you know, try to replay a game that we played months ago. We want to just start right from where we left off. This is a good way to do it. So we go to load save state, and this is exactly where I left off. You see here, that's not my best score ever, but the point's still valid. And then if I want to go again, and I have to press P at the keyboard again, I go to save state, and so the next time I go into this game, it'll be right where I left off the last time. Now, another thing too that this build offers that most front ends do not offer, most graphical interfaces don't offer, you know, is the ability to grab from many different sources, not just old school retro games, but even new ones. So if I go here, you can see here that not only does it grab from Steam, which is what this little icon means here, but it grabs basically from multiple sources here. That's, you know, that's another source of an online gameplay that I have. Most of my games are in Steam, however, but here's Epic, for example, right here, Epic Games. And so this is the most comprehensive gaming build that I believe is on the market today. You have the ability to play games from 1978 all the way through till today. And this computer build can do it all, which is something that very few people can say. And of course, as I'm scrolling down my list here, these are things that are just loaded on this build. You know, it's another game that I like to play. Again, another emblem here that shows that I've loaded from more than one different source online. And if you go to Nintendo 64, obviously, if I wanted to load a game, you know, let's see, there's another one. I'll just load here real quick. You can see kind of what I'm dealing with here. And if I press play, if I press P on the keyboard, well, let me just right here, okay, and go to save state, enter, back and press again, you go back here to load, and it'll go right from where I left off again. See, it's pretty cool how that works out. You know, I've calibrated these things correctly to where you can pause the game exactly where you left off, even months later, go right back to load it up correctly, and you'll have your game right where you left off. So it's another advantage. Hey, thank you very much for your time, you guys. Thank you for watching my video. Hope this video finds you well. Please be safe out there. Be blessed.